Hey guys, Brady here with your daily tennis lessons. So we're looking this week at how to beat that dreaded pusher. If you saw our last video, we talked about avoiding overhitting. That's something we got to stay away from against a pusher. Today we're going to look at 3 things that you need to start doing a lot more of in order to take, kind of the reins and really start to destroy this player over here who just makes a ton of balls but isn't really pressing you. The first thing is positioning. I think if you guys have watched any of our other videos where I've, played somebody that's hitting heavy, we've talked about positioning a little bit more off the baseline to give yourself a little more time to deal with kind of that big bounce. It's kind of the exact opposite against a pusher. What's great about that ball, even though there's going to be a lot of them coming, is that they're not pressing you. They're not making you all that uncomfortable, except for the fact that you have to hit a lot of shots. So playing up closer to the baseline is a really good idea, because today's theme is really about taking time away from the opponent. And I think you guys would agree that if my standard ready position is about 3 to 5 feet behind the baseline, by stepping up to the baseline, I've taken away 3 to 5 feet of the ball traveling from the baseline back here to my standard ready position, and that same 3 to 5 feet of the ball coming off my racket, moving out into the other side of the court. So that's anywhere between 6 and 10 feet of court that the ball doesn't have to travel now on my side. Hopefully that math isn't too confusing. But ultimately, saving myself 6 to 10 feet of the tennis ball traveling into Mark's side of the court is going to give him less time. And again, it's not like he's ripping balls at me. So being here, I'm still most likely going to be pretty darn comfortable stroking the ball the way I want to, even though I'm closer to the baseline. So let's start to play up on top of the baseline against pushers more often than not to take time away. The second and third points we're going to make today are really the bread and butter of starting to have a game plan to beat this player consistently. Their pushing is the poison. The anti-venom, so to speak, is starting to take the ball on the rise quite a bit more, and then ultimately starting to take a lot of these floaters out of the air. The on the rise ball is my second point, though. What I would like to see a lot more of as I'm playing a pusher and I'm really tracking this ball well because it's slow. Make sure that you guys are really seeing this tennis ball the entire way that it's coming from Mark's racket into my side of the court. Again, back to what I'm seeing is kind of the mistake is here comes the slow ball. Even if I see it really well, but I go back to here, I hit that shot pretty well, but that's not really going to give a pusher all that much trouble, simply because he still has a lot of time to work with. So if on that same type of ball, I'm going from standing on top of the baseline and taking it on the rise, you can see, I don't care how fast he is, I didn't even have to rip that as big as I can, and he's not given the reaction time to be able to get to that ball. So on the rise is really, really key, and I think you guys will start to hit that on the rise more effectively if you really do a great job of tracking the ball with your eyesight from his racket all the way to the bounce. That's a really key part of that shot. That then leads us into really taking time away from that player over there by getting the ball out of the air. And we can do this a number of ways. I can do it with a standard volley. If I'm feeling ultra confident, I might come up and use my swing volley. All right, so you guys are going to see how much time I actually take away from Mark in a rally with a pusher. If I start to really try to take that ball out of the air. And again, standard volley is probably the way to go if you're really working on avoiding overhitting like we talked about in the last video. But again, if the confidence level's high and you feel like you're really starting to crack the code of this pusher, you might get into that same rally, and especially from the forehand side, start to utilize that swing volley. And that's when you're going to see that pusher on the other side of the court just start to feel so defeated, because they know that their game doesn't have another gear. There's not much else they can do to beat you, and you're just taking that shot out of the air, giving them so little time. The advantage is all yours, okay? So those 3 points are really key. Start to position up on top of the baseline more against the pusher. Start to utilize that on the rise shot, helped by tracking that ball the whole way in. And then finally start to try to utilize that swing volley or the standard volley, but start getting some of those really high kind of moon ball type pushes out of the air, okay? And that is a great way to beat a pusher. And that's all I got for you today. We got more coming later in the week, a couple different plays to utilize to beat these types of players. But until then, please click like below this video. And if you have not subscribed to our channel yet, please do so, as well as check down below me in the description of this video. You'll find the link to 3 free courses Mark and I have put together. I think you'll find those really helpful as well. All right, so until next time, be well, and we'll see you soon.